Well, hello, everybody. I'm meteorologist Chris Mulcahy, and who was woken up by some thunder maybe early morning last night? We had a few thunderstorms that developed across the area. Some decent rain came from these, and hail, excuse me, hail is going to be the main thing that I think we're going to see from this system. So, again, I'm Chris Mulcahy. Good to see you. Good morning, Joy. I see that you're joining us. This is going to be an open forum. We're just going to be talking about the weather that's happening over the next few hours, heading into the afternoon. Sunday is not going to be an all-day storm day. However, we are going to still see rain, I would say, leading up to about 2, 3 o'clock. Very, very strong storms down to the south. We even had a few severe thunderstorm warnings that have had this terminology. Considerable severe thunderstorm warnings with wind gusts as high as 70 miles per hour. It's usually 60 that's the basis, or 58 technically, so it shows how strong those storm systems are going to be. But then here's a few cells that we're dealing with. It's just been a lot of these that pop up and then they eventually dissipate. And then some of them creating some decent lightning, and they're getting tall enough with the right support for some pea-sized hail. So we have been seeing that, a few reports starting off this morning. Lenny, I just met you the other day. I see that you're joining us. But I want to show you really south of this line. On top of it, it's been nonstop rain after nonstop rain from Georgia through central parts of South Carolina. That's dealing with flash flood warnings. So we're not really seeing too many severe thunderstorm warnings. There is one that's southeast of Columbia. Speaking of, that's where I think most of the activity is going to be. We're on the northern side of really the bullseye of the worst of this weather. Sadly, in thoughts and prayers that we could have another tornado outbreak, this time more centralized in Alabama. If you saw any of the damage that happened from Mississippi on Friday night, it's breathtaking. It's some of the worst damage that I personally have seen as a meteorologist. If you look at some of the signatures that came from that storm, it was crazy. It's a preliminary still EF4, but it's going to take a while to study all that to see if maybe it did encroach territory of EF5. But we're not looking at anything close to that. That's not going to be our forecast. It's really general rule of thumb, south of I-85 is where we're going to see the worst of the storms. Here's the storm system that rolled through before 9 o'clock. We had reports from around Lowell to about UNC Charlotte to Harrisburg that we did have a little bit of pea-sized hail. So that's only a quarter of an inch. The stronger storms still down to the south. Right now, these strong storms creating wind gusts up to about 40 miles per hour. So if you're watching from south of Rock Hill, that's where I think over the next hour or so, you could have some stronger storms starting to work your way into southern part of York County. Here's a severe weather outlook. This came up a little bit. This was only pretty much for our southern counties. That would be Chester, Lancaster, and Chesterfield County this morning. Now it's moved up to the Charlotte area. So pretty much Charlotte moving south, the severe weather chances get higher and the storms should be stronger in general. If you live north of there, you could still have some scattered rain, but I even think the I-40 corridor could have sunshine much longer than the rest of the area, where you have a better shot at the 70s compared to the upper 60s for Charlotte. So that's going to be a big difference. Hail looks to be the number one probability. We already started off the least unstable part of the day with some small hail. So if we get a little extra instability, heat things up a little bit more, we could have some larger hail than just pea size. So maybe penny nickel size. This is representing that there's a 1 in 20 chance, 5%, that any thunderstorm maybe could provide up to about quarter size. That would be an inch in diameter. But notice those little lines. That is a significant hail threat for Macon, Georgia into south central South Carolina. I think this is picking up on the potential for supercells, and supercells are rotating thunderstorms, and all supercells will produce hail. So I think that's why we're seeing those threats. As for the winds, I think the further south that you go, you're going to have a much better chance for this. So you notice that our wind probability is going to be substantially further south compared to what we had for our hail potential. Still, it's about Monroe's the cut up down to the south. So I'm going to say it one more time. South of I-85 looks to be the sweet spot. So let's go to what's happening right now and what our Futurecast is showing. That bullseye, Jackson, Mississippi to Alabama. So sadly, Mississippi is going to be in again. Chance for an outbreak of supercells, long track tornadoes, not what you want to have for your Sunday. But then all this activity is still gliding along a stalled out front. Fronts can almost be train tracks for nonstop rain. That's exactly what we're going to see. Multiple inches of rain falling in South Carolina. But here's a look at our Futurecast. So I know it's already 10:53, but this is what our Futurecast was showing for the 10 o'clock hour. It's a little bit behind. Truly, the models have been terrible. Not good this morning. It can't pick up on all this isolated activity. Also, the forecast for Sunday continued to change on us. When we were doing our forecast on Friday, it looked like maybe an outlying chance just in South Carolina. The line kept on creeping further north. So that's why today has that potential, but it's not going to be a washout. You're only going to see a small section. So you notice that storm potential, even though the model's time has been off. I would say leading up now until noon, it's encroaching the I-85 corridor. It's once you get to about 2 to 3 o'clock, that's clear of most of the area, but you're also noticing some sunshine further off towards the north. That's where you see more of the gray background instead of the white representing that cloud cover. But still down at the south, you're dealing with clouds most of the time. And then another round of rain is possible heading into Monday morning. So today's highs, we're only looking at the upper 60s to around 70 degrees. I think the I-40 corridor, Hickory, Morganton, you're going to be a little bit warmer just because you will see sunshine. And then overnight tonight, we're looking at the upper 20s. I want to give a couple of shout outs because you're either messaging me from Facebook, from YouTube, all over the place. Somebody saying much love from Florida. All right. Shrimp is the first word that you have in that. Lori, I'm in Fountain Inn. So thank you so much for joining us. I also want to go back here. I want to show you a little bit better look at our radar and the line and why I'm thinking storms are going to be worse in certain areas. So as I mentioned, there's a stationary front that everything is gliding along. So notice all this rain. That's a tremendous amount of rain. That's crazy. I actually want to check in on this severe thunderstorm warning, what they're saying for the specs. This goes until 11:30 in South Carolina. This is moving east at 55, so this thing's cruising. At one point, this is showing indications that we could have wind gusts up to 70 miles per hour. Doesn't look to be the case anymore. Quarter-size hail possible with that. So large hail regardless from everything that we're seeing. Looks like that freezing level is in the right spot for that. All right, we're going to clear this. Just had to check that one out. So I'm going to draw a line. This line is representing just the general push from where everything's going. Here, I'll animate it for you. It's this line right here. That's going to cut through Rock Hill. That's going to cut through Matthews. I'll zoom in a little bit better so you can see it better. So, yeah, Rock Hill to Matthews up to Albemarle. Area south, you have the much better chance for a widespread severe, I would say thunderstorms, not severe weather, but strong thunderstorms, a lot of cloud ground lightning. We're seeing a lot of those lightning strikes that almost rattle the house. We're going to draw another line. This line is a secondary chance for rain. This one kind of goes through Greenville, Shelby, northern Mecklenburg County. That's where we're also seeing thunderstorms have been gliding along that. In between, that's where I think things are going to be a little bit more scattered as far as the rain, but certainly south of that first line that I have, that's where most of the activity is going to be. So especially if you're watching from Chester County, Lancaster County, I'll throw Union in there, Chesterfield, Anson. I think you're going to see the worst of the storms, also Richmond County as well. And we're kind of lucky that we're away from the central part of this because I think you're going to see over 4 inches of rain in some areas down in the south. So it's flash flooding, severe threat with the winds. Not a great situation. So we'll continue to keep you updated. If this really starts to turn, if I start seeing hail in the area, hail in the area. Sorry, it's been a morning. Likely I'm going to go live again. So if the weather really starts to turn, you're going to see me again. Brad will be in a little bit later on. But the best news I have for you is really to conclude the afternoon. We'll start to clear things out. So I appreciate you for joining us. As always, we're always here to raise your weather IQ and keep you weather aware. That's why we're here for you. We appreciate you. And until the next video, take care.